Welcome to Utah Stories. So today on the program, we have an article from our December issue of Utah Stories. Guest on the program, Debra West. She runs a sanctuary, Liberty Sanctuary. Thanks for joining us, Debra.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So it's a very cool story because probably not everybody watching is aware that thousands of horses are slaughtered every year in America. And a lot of those horses are shipped to either Canada or Mexico. So why are those horses being slaughtered, and what can be done to save them?
Well, thanks again for having me. And what I would say is that they're actually being slaughtered outside of our country. So they're being shipped, and that's what the slaughter pipeline is. So they're being shipped from kill pens in the United States, and they're being sent to Mexico and to Canada, over 20,000 horses a year. And these are horses that the USDA has stated that 92.3% of them are young and healthy and could live lives here in the United States if those resources were found for them. And those resources do exist in the United States. We have over 16,000 sanctuaries, and Liberty Sanctuary here in Utah is one of them. And we started rescuing horses from the slaughter pipeline back in April. And now we've rescued 30 horses this year. Well, 30 equines. We had one mini donkey. But they range. They're Mustangs, they're domestic horses, minis. We had a mini donkey, like I said. So they really range. And there are sanctuaries in the United States and caring individuals who would love to have a horse and care for a horse that could care for these horses without having them have to suffer the abuse that occurs in the slaughter pipeline.
Yeah, so I suppose if they're getting shipped to Canada or Mexico, that's a long ways off, and then they spend time in a slaughter pen, and it's just got to be miserable, I'm sure.
Yeah. So as soon as they enter the slaughter pipeline, which usually happens at an auction, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. When you bring your horse to auction, or you give your horse away to a good home for free, that is the simplest way for your horse to be in jeopardy of entering the slaughter pipeline. And as soon as your horse is bid on by a kill buyer in the slaughter in an auction, that horse is now on a different trajectory, and all medical care stops. And that horse is in the kill pen for anywhere from probably a week to 2 weeks. And then that horse, if not purchased by a sanctuary or a caring individual, that horse is now on a possibly like 30-hour cargo ride to Mexico without food, without water. They pack them in like sardines, and for no fault of their own. These are innocent animals that... I mean, if we could, I would love every one of your listeners to come visit us and see the progress that we are making. We've invited Utah lawmakers as well, because we just feel it's very moving and convincing that these horses have other options right here in the United States. They don't need to be direct shipped. Sometimes they're direct shipped with not even being offered to the public for sale. So sometimes they're just rounded up and immediately shipped to slaughter. And slaughter, to be clear, is not euthanasia. So, I mean, we actually are proponents in the right situations. If an equine is unwell, irreparably unwell, euthanasia, is what happens with cats and dogs. I mean, that's humane. What happens in the slaughter pipeline is not humane.
Yeah. And so you talk about all these sanctuaries out there. Do they make you and all of them make a significant dent in the slaughter pipeline? Are you saving a lot of animals altogether?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't have those figures, but it's a very active group. I mean, we're on a slaughter pipeline call biweekly that's run out of D.C. Because there's actually legislation in the works right now that we're hoping to help get passed called the SAFE Act, or Save America's Forgotten Equines Act, which would actually ban the export of equines for slaughter. That call kind of brings a bunch of sanctuaries together and other kind of informed equine voices together. But there are others. There are many other calls, and there are many other groups that bring folks together from across the nation and, help coordinate these efforts.
Yeah. One story we did, it's probably been 12 years ago now, was a man who lived in Boulder, Utah, or near Boulder. He would go to the auction where the wild mustangs were rounded up, and he'd find wild mustangs that he wanted to train,
Right.
and he was like a horse whisperer. And that was an amazing story. You have horse whisperers on your staff.
We do. So Eric Kraut is our director of wellness, equine wellness, and we have Trevor Howard, who's director of training. The two of them coordinate together, and they get the horses. For example, we have a bunch of baby horses. We just rescued 12 baby horses from a Wyoming roundup. And they are being cared for primarily by Eric, but Trevor is.
When you
kind
say
of,
baby, are they like yearlings or
yeah?
like just
Well,
little...
they're anywhere from about 4 months to a year and a half now.
Wow.
And they came in August, but they're making tremendous progress because the younger we can get them, the kind of quicker their rehabilitation seems to be. We also have, as mentioned in the story, the published story that you guys did, a baby horse. He's 7 months old now. He was born in a Texas kill pen, and he came to us when he was 1 month old, and we carefully transported him from Texas.
Wow.
But he's doing phenomenal, and his name is Jasper. And actually, there's going to be a children's book written about him and his mom, Gemma, and the trials and kind of success that they've seen.
Yeah, that's cool. That's recounted in the story.
Yeah.
That
So I encourage people
that
to read
Brandy
that.
did about you. So when you bring in a horse, I guess you don't know its story, but it can be any level of feralness or wildness. Is that?
Yeah,
and you
that's
just have to deal with what you got.
All the horses that have come to us are really skittish or nervous of people, but very understandably, they've been completely mistreated, even probably before they were in the slaughter pipeline. So we don't know their story, but they start to tell us their story a little bit. We could see and tell by how they react to us. And, if we put like a hand by their head, have they possibly been hit or, mismanaged around the head? We kind of all approach things as if we're part of the herd and kind of approach them really gently. So you have to sort of take some of your human qualities and put them on the side and really try to observe. And this is sort of what we teach our volunteers. We have a great group of volunteers, but obviously Eric and Trevor know this innately. And I would say, so does Charlene. We have an energy worker who comes and heals the horses with her energy. She understands that innately, but some of the volunteers, depending on their backgrounds, might not know as much, but we teach everyone to kind of really work with the horses as if they're part of the herd. And horses are very subtle with each other, so mankind can be a little bit stronger in dealing with a horse they think could be a problem horse, or they put their own aspirations or desires of what they want the horse to do on the horse, and it's really the horse that needs to tell us those things.
Is the goal to saddle them and be able to ride them all?
Trevor has ridden 2 of our draft crosses that came from Texas in April. He hasn't put them under saddle, but he has just on bareback, Axel and Comanche. And so, that's some beautiful work. Axel was a 8-year-old stallion who was 100% going to slaughter. They had reduced his price in the kill pen, and we just had to have him. And that's the thing too, is just to understand some of the costs. These horses don't come for free. They actually call it bail. So you pay their bail to get them out of jail. And we've paid a little over $1,000 for some of them. And then it's depending on where the kill pen is. We could spend $1,000 a head getting them here. But, it all depends. We've actually had some of our Mustangs were donated to us. And so obviously those economics are a little bit different. And the baby horses from Wyoming that we brought in are a little bit less as well. But they're still, the kill pens are still charging sanctuaries, much more than, if a horse was just donated. If the slaughter pipeline was shut down, there wouldn't be this alternative market where these kill pen buyers are, making a living off the back of these, innocent animals.
Well, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, if they shut down the slaughter pipeline, wouldn't that kind of overwhelm public lands if there were so many?
It really wouldn't, and it's a really great question. Thank you for asking it, because I think even some of our lawmakers are unclear about that, because when we write to them, they answer always about public lands. When we write to them about the SAFE Act, they answer about public lands. And actually, the majority of equines in the slaughter pipeline are domestic horses. Yes, of course, there are also BLM horses in the pipeline as well, but there are enough sanctuaries and resources. And actually, we're trying to work on program we're calling the Equine Assistance Network that would kind of connect the dots for people. The resources exist, but we do understand that on a Saturday, you may not know where to go to, surrender a horse, or maybe even ask for, maybe you lost your job. Maybe you need 3 months of hay for free, and you can prove that you have an economic, problem, but you'd like to continue to care for your horse because this horse has been your partner your whole life. They're not livestock. I mean, they're categorized as livestock, but horses are companion animals, just like dogs and cats, and that's really what the SAFE Act is. All the SAFE Act is doing right now, it's illegal to export cats and dogs for slaughter. It's only adding the word "and equine" to what is already law. And frankly, doing anything else is betraying the equines who have helped build our country. I mean, without equines, we wouldn't be in Utah.
Well, horses are such, like, we have a vet, and we're so attached to our dogs. Right. And horses are such spiritual animals. They really, they have horse therapy for a very good reason, because you spend time with them and they really just have this calming power where anybody who's been traumatized or has PTSD that's around a horse really can calm down just spending time with that animal. And so I think what you're doing is great, and I think that's awesome. How can people get more involved, Debra?
We'd love to have any help. We're online at libertysanctuary.org. We'd love to have more volunteers. We have a great group of people, and I think anyone would really have fun being part of this program. And any people or companies that would like to partner with us or donate, there's information online as well.
All right, we got that on our website. The website's up, and so go check out libertysanctuary.org.
Yes.
And thanks for coming on, Debra.
Thank you.
Very cool
pleasure.
Story.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you would like to be a bigger part of Utah Stories, go out to utahstories.com, subscribe to our free digital newsletter. It's absolutely free, delivered to your inbox once a week. And if you'd like the magazine delivered to your door, it is just $3 a month, and we're sending it all over Utah and now all over the United States. So check it out. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.